Hey friends, it's the Tipsy Tamarin. Today, I've got one for the Spice Lords. I know you've heard of Nashville hot chicken, but have you heard of Nashville hot chicky nuggies? That's what we're doing today, and it's gonna be epic. We are gonna pay homage to the OG Nashville hot chicken in some respects, but we're also gonna take some liberties, like getting rid of that pesky bone. Are you ready? Let's get it. Alright, so let's talk about what we're going to be drinking today. I've got a pineapple chihuahua puff tart. It's got flavors of cherry, pineapple, guava, marshmallow, and a touch of milk sugar. It comes from the Brewing Project, and this is going to be an excellent pairing with our hot and spicy Chicky Nuggies. The sweetness is going to balance out the heat really, really well. To get started, we want to go ahead and ground up our meat. Today, I'm going to be using chicken thighs because they're better. Everyone knows that. Anyways, you can do this with a meat grinder attachment on a KitchenAid mixer, or you can do it with a food processor, whatever you have and whatever is easiest for you. Once our meat is ground up, we want to add some spices. So here I'm adding some cayenne, and some granulated garlic, a little bit of smoked paprika, some freshly ground black pepper, and a healthy amount of salt. I didn't give you measurements here because I feel like this is to taste. You should be adding the spices that you like and adding the amount that you like. Once you've done that, stir until combined. Now we want to portion out our chicken. So I'm using an ice cream scoop. If you want to be perfect, use a scale, measure each one, whatever method is most comfortable for you. Admittedly, I do feel like mine were a little bit large, but let's be honest. Who's complaining about a thick chicken nugget? After you've got everything portioned out, you want to form these into little balls. We're not quite ready to make our chicken nugget shape because we're going to put these in the refrigerator where they're going to cool off, and that's going to make them a lot easier to work with. While we're waiting for our nuggets to cool off, we can mix together our dredging ingredients. So starting with the wet ingredients, that's going to consist of 1 egg, 1 cup of buttermilk, 1/4 cup of pickle brine, and any amount of your favorite hot sauce. I like spicy food, so I added a lot. Then whisk that up until combined. We're going to keep our dry ingredients really simple. You just need 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 teaspoons of salt. You can use other flavorings if you want, but I've noticed that you really don't end up tasting them in the final product. Now we're going to form our chicken nuggets and dredge them. Now the secret to Nashville hot chicken is a double dredge. And what that means is we're first going to put it into our wet ingredients, then we're going to put it into our dry ingredients, and then we're going to repeat that process. This should give us a nice, crunchy, crispy exterior when we fry these up. Now we're going to make our death sauce. That's going to consist of a 1/2 cup of butter, or 1 stick. Now we're going to add 3 tablespoons of cayenne pepper. And you might be thinking, wow, that's a horrifying amount of cayenne pepper. But trust me, traditionally, they use way more than that. In fact, they use double that amount. So yes, it will be spicy, but we're also going to be balancing it out with other flavors as well. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Finally, half a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. After everything has been added, mix until combined. Alright, now we're going to throw together our blue cheese dip to mitigate some of that heat. So we're going to do 1/4 cup of mayo and sour cream, a couple tablespoons of buttermilk, half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, a splash of Worcestershire sauce, nailed it, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and half a teaspoon of ground mustard. Finally, we'll crumble up our blue cheese in there. Then we'll stir that up until everything has been incorporated. Okay, we're almost at the finish line. So now we want to grab a heavy bottom pan, I'm using a cast iron skillet, and fill that up with a neutral oil. I'm using peanut oil, but you can use whatever you want. After that, we'll grab our battered chicken nuggets so they can bathe in that hot oil. Now, you're going to want to flip these frequently so that they don't get too brown on one side. I would say about 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side. And you'll cook them until you get an internal temp of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. After the chicken nuggets come out, it's time to douse them in our death sauce. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this with a pastry brush, but you can do it however you want. If you want to dip them in the sauce or toss them, go ahead. And finally, it's time to plate it up. So let's throw down a layer of our blue cheese. Don't get stingy here. This stuff is good, and people are going to want a lot of it. And then we're going to top that off with our chicken nuggets. Alright, so here it is. Nashville hot chicken nuggets. Let's give it a try. Okay, so these are hot, like really hot, but in a good way. If you like spicy food, you're gonna love this. And if you can't handle the heat, I really do recommend making the blue cheese. It kind of mitigates the heat. Also, get yourself an amazing beer. I hope you guys try this. If you enjoyed this content, like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next one.